Hey there, welcome. Good to see you. Hope you've had a good year. I thought we'd close off 2022 with something a bit different and a bit fun, with a very special commemorative model from G-Dubs, the Goff Rocker. I don't normally buy plastic models anymore since getting into 3D printing, but there was just something about this one that really captured my interest above anything else happening in the world of tabletop miniatures right now. Wouldn't it be cool if this little squig here was actually life-size and a fully functional guitar speaker cabinet? Hey, I've got to record a bit for this YouTube video. Can you pretend like you've never seen this before in your life?
I don't want my face to be...
This is not pointed at your face. Let me try that again because that was part of the joke.
Wow, I've never seen this before in my life.
I've got this crazy idea. Can you try and sculpt his little guitar amplifier monster? And then we're going to print it huge and make a guitar amplifier out of it.
This little guy?
Yep.
I can give it a go. I did it.
You actually did a great job.
I did this. Thank you, sir.
That's beautiful. So Isaac did an absolutely amazing job at recreating the squig amp. Thank you, Isaac. I should take a second here just to formally introduce you all to this talented individual. He's a good friend of mine with a knack for painting, and recently he's been learning to use ZBrush for 3D modeling. So you can expect to see more collaborations with Isaac here on the channel in the future. Right, so the first thing I'm going to need is a guitar speaker to do this. And I found a Celestion T5 813 8-inch 15-watt 8-ohm speaker. And I think that could be perfect because, well, for one, it's $67, so awesome. But I think I can fit an 8-inch like frame, like mounting thing on the printer. So I reckon this is the way to go. So with the speakers sorted, we need a way to print this thing off. Typically, we do resin printing here on this channel, but for a big job like this, I think we're going to need a filament printer. Or two. Oh my god, and a bunch of filament? Elegoo, you spoil me. Thank you for enabling my 3D printing addiction. I don't have nearly as much experience with filament printers as I do with resin printers, so I'll try and not linger too long here on the machines themselves or go too deep into the weeds. But if I could summarize my findings or opinion of the Elegoo Neptune 3 series printers in one statement, it's this. I wish one of these machines had been my first filament printer. They are absolutely excellent. Both machines are nearly identical in terms of assembly, they come very well packaged and are practically already fully built. All you got to do is attach the gantry with a few bolts and plug in some connectors. Elegoo provides very clear and easy to follow instructions, and they even put video guides on the included SD cards. I was able to get both of these machines assembled and printing in very short order. The Neptune 3 Plus, other than being a lot larger than the Pro, also differs in that it has 2 supporting arms to install, as well as 6 leveling wheels underneath the bed. So to level this printer, you first have to do the traditional paper friction test at each wheel and at the center of the bed, but then afterwards the machine does an automatic leveling calibration that gets it perfect. On the Pro, you just go straight to automatic leveling, and both machines do a great job at this. I made sure to clean the beds well with isopropyl alcohol and printed a few tests using Elegoo's provided profiles, and I gotta say, I was so damn impressed at this. The bed adhesion test went great, and this model I ran off from Forbidden Prints looks terrific. With Isaac having done a phenomenal job modeling the squig, and the 2 printers ready to go, it was time to begin modifying the sculpt to actually function as a speaker cabinet. And since we're jumping into the computer for a minute here, allow me to first tell you about today's sponsor, Atlas VPN. Atlas VPN and I would like to wish you a safe Christmas and New Year with a 3-year premium plan. For just $1.70 a month plus 6 extra months completely free, you can secure your online traffic now and protect your data against those who would take advantage of it. As someone who values privacy, I've been a user of VPN services for many years at this point, and I can't imagine browsing the web and accessing content online without one. Atlas VPN have fast servers located all around the world, which are great for getting around geo-blocking, but more importantly, for securing all your traffic to and from your devices. So whether it's protection from a local attacker sniffing on your Wi-Fi, or your ISP handing over logs to an overbearing government, all anyone will be able to see is an indecipherable stream of encrypted bits when you're using Atlas VPN. So whether you're into accessing region-locked content, sailing the high seas, circumventing strict censorship laws or surveillance, or simply just protecting your data online, these guys have got your back. They have a strong no logs policy, servers optimized for streaming and privacy, a fantastic blocking assistant that protects you from malicious links, ads, and trackers, and best of all, right now you can get Atlas VPN's premium 3-year plan for just $1.70 per month, and you get 6 months premium on top of that for no extra fee. Also, if you're dissatisfied, they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, which is pretty cool. Click the link in the video description below and grab this deal while you can. Thank you Atlas VPN for sponsoring this video. Okay, back to the squig. I ended up using a lot of different tools to get this job done, but to summarize, I began by creating the mounting plate for the speaker using Fusion 360. Then I imported both models into 3D Builder to determine the correct scale for the squig. I then used Lychee Slicer to hollow the squig before bringing it back into 3D Builder and using it to boolean away the excess mounting plate, perfectly marrying the two pieces. I then imported this into Blender, where I then opened up the gaps between the grill, as well as directly built in some supports to help out in the printing process. I also quickly whipped up a new tail bolt thingy in Fusion 360 to replace the original, as this would be the mounting point for the 1/4-inch jack. Now I did spend some time playing around with adding bolt holes, because it would be nice to have the option to open the squig up if needed, but ultimately I failed to make it work given the time I had on hand for this project. This does mean the speaker and wiring will be sealed in permanently for this particular squig, but maybe someone with more of a knack for this sort of thing could remix it for the community. I'll be releasing all the files absolutely free for anyone to download over on Printables, so if you'd like to build your own squig speaker cabinet or improve the design, then please go right ahead. There'll be a link down below in the video description. I can't guarantee, however, that these files will always be around, given that they are essentially a 1-to-1 copy of a Games Workshop design, even if they are modified for a completely different purpose. So grab them while you can, and if at the time you're watching this those files are gone, then maybe one of the nice folks over on the Once in a Six-Side Discord server would be willing to help you out. So with the modding done, all that was left to do at this point was cut it into chunks that would fit the printers and get to printing. But not before getting lost in the weeds of printer tuning for a whole day after changing both printers over to use 0.6mm nozzles. It's probably debatable whether I should have done this or not, but I'm happy I did because I learned a lot about filament printing as a result of this. Calibrating the E-steps, for example, which actually, by the way, is super easy on these machines. It's just right there in the settings. You don't need to connect it up to a PC and do any command line stuff. I probably didn't get them dialed in perfect with the new nozzles, but after many test prints, I got them to a point I was pretty happy with. One of the biggest things I found that was affecting the quality was this setting here called infill before walls. This was causing the infill pattern to show pretty heavily on the outside of my prints, and increasing the amount of walls didn't mask the problem as much as changing this setting did, which was a relief because it meant I could get away with using 2 walls and save a bunch of time. Crazy the difference that made. I think the way to go is definitely turn off that setting. Yeah, look at that. The difference between printing these files on Elegoo's default nozzle and profile versus this new one literally meant days saved in printing time, which was a big deal because the holidays are fast approaching and I would really love to have this video done and ready to go before the new year. Look at it! It's fucking glorious! What do you think of your new baby?
It's a nice ass.
Before committing to printing the face piece with the speaker mount, I figured it would be a good idea to run off just the bit where the bolts go first to make sure that all my tolerances are good. This was an important detail to get right because there's no way to get a tool between the grill and the speaker, so the print itself was going to have to hold the bolts in place when installing the speaker. And that is why we fucking do test prints. Jesus Christ. Look how much I mismeasured that. After reprinting the test and confirming a good fit for the bolts, I now had the confidence to print that big beautiful grill. Other than some stringing, which was due to the time-lapse gantry movements, this part I think turned out awesome. I had also printed the 2 middle halves, one using tree supports, which utterly failed. That tree's looking a little rough.
Uh-oh.
And yet magically recovered in the last mile. And the other with zigzags, which went perfect. Thankfully, all the parts lined up beautifully. With everything printed, I figured it would be a good idea to paint the grille now before installing the speaker, so that I don't risk getting paint on it later on. For this, I used a rattle can primer, followed by some gunmetal through the airbrush. Wiring was pretty straightforward. Thankfully, my plan to have the print hold onto the bolts from the front while I secure it in place worked out well. I used Loctite to ensure these nuts stay put and soldered the ever-living shit out of these connections to hopefully make it so I never have to crack this squig open for maintenance. What are your first words, Mr. Squiggle? Sounds incredibly thin because there's no speaker cabinet yet giving it resonance.
Yeah, but it's got potential.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to sound like absolute horse garbage. I have the tackle.
I do have a couple of speaker cabinets already that I've owned for over a decade each at this point, and I've not once ever had to do any internal maintenance on those, so I feel pretty confident it'll be okay to seal this all up permanently. Worst case scenario, I could go in through the bottom with a large hole saw, but I doubt that'll ever be necessary. To glue all the parts together, I used maxi nails, aka liquid nails. This stuff bonds incredibly well to PLA plastic, so well in fact that I'm pretty sure the plastic will fail before the glue does. So it's a good choice for the job. After a bit of sanding the next day, I then did a pass with Milliput to try and hide the seams a bit better. I'm not too fussed about getting a great finish here. As for me, I kind of like layer lines and a bit of chaos in the surface finish, especially in this case where we're talking about a violent, bloodthirsty Xeno beast. Bloodthirsty? I wonder how this squig even gets its meals. Anyway, with that all done, all that was left to do was slap some paint on Mr. Squiggle here. After masking up the grill, I took it outdoors and gave it an all-over coat of black primer, followed by this red. I tried not to cover too well with the red so as to keep some of the more recessed areas a bit darker. I then brought it indoors and using the airbrush tried to hit just the high points with a brighter red. Then I gave all the teeth and claws a coat of white, as well as the eyes, and touched up the gunmetal on the grill as well as the protruding earplug things and the tail jack plate. I then painted some pupils to his eyes before covering them with a transparent yellow, followed by some shading around the edges with an orange. These are Army Painter speed paints, by the way. I figured I'd try an oil wash over all of the metal and bone, but found I wasn't too happy with this effect, so ended up going back in with some pallid bone speed paint, followed by a dry brush of white. I also dry brushed the metallic parts with silver. And that's pretty much it. The squig is actually done. All told, it took only around 3 or 4 days to print, so despite being the largest thing I've ever printed, it certainly wasn't the longest print job I've had to endure, thanks in large part to Elegoo's epic new Neptune 3 series printers and having 2 of them on hand. I highly recommend these if you've been thinking about getting an FDM machine, and there'll be links to both down in the video description. Also, it's worth mentioning that their PLA filament was excellent to work with as well, and I like that it comes on these recyclable cardboard spools. Anyway, I suppose you're wondering how it sounds, right? Well, funnily enough, you're actually hearing it right now. Check it out. Dakar.
Yeah.
I used to know how to play some of their songs. How does it go?